Well, it's day 2 at reInvent here today, and we've just had the Adam Selipsky's keynote. It was a bit strange. I nearly said Andy Jassy in the back of my mind, but it's Adam Selipsky's keynote. And I'm joined today by the awesome one and only Thorsten Høgen. You're an AWS serverless hero. Tell us, where have you come from and what are you expecting to do at reInvent?
Yeah, I'm from Germany. As you said, I'm part of the Heroes program. And yeah, it's my 6th reInvent and I'm still loving it. And yeah, it's cool to meet people, to network, to learn things, learn about new services, and see what AWS is up to.
Cool. So what kind or flavor or family of serverless hero are you?
So I'm a part of the DevTools Heroes category. So it's all about developer experience and tooling for developers. So especially the service launches like Code Whisperer and all the things were exactly my category.
Excellent. So in terms of developer tooling, what kind of things do you then work on a day-to-day basis?
So my main focus is automation of stuff. So using CDK and SAM and all these things, but mainly CDK. So CDK is my thing.
CDK. Is that a particular language that you're writing in? What got you into CDK to start with?
So yes, I'm using the native one in TypeScript because that's the native language of CDK, and everything else is then transpiled from there. So what got me into it? I was using it for like 5 years now when it was still in beta. And yeah, being contributor to it, wrote a book about it. So CDK is my thing.
Excellent. Yeah, the CDK book is well regarded. So good for that. So you're talking about the keynote today. Obviously, there were some developer tools related things, but even specific, not necessarily regarding that. What was your impression of the keynote?
So it was not very hard to guess that the main thing would be about generative AI. So there were guesses like how many times he will say the word Gen AI.
Yeah, I'm sure there was somebody had a betting game going on with that.
There was a betting game, and it was really a lot. He said it a lot. So the main focus was Gen AI, which was it was natural that it was to happen. But yeah, there were also several cool things. It's not only a buzzword; there are really meaningful things behind it now, especially with the launch of Q and all the things that coming with Q. It could really help businesses transform and especially, I think, help with the shortage of people that are able to do things, to do this transformation. There is now tooling to help people to really accomplish all the needed things in this transformation of IT.
Yeah, that's what I also found interesting as well. And obviously, he spoke about this generative AI stack. Talking about the chips at the bottom and then Bedrock in the middle with all the models and all the different things that can happen. And then I think building those business applications on top of the generative AI, which I sort of like, because I think there's often a lot of talk about the AI models and those sort of prompts, but you need to be sort of really specific in what you're asking it. And that I think that, well, personally, it trips me up a bit as well to see these business applications on where it's integrated into your IDE or into a console or into your business applications to answer questions about your business. That's when you can see Gen AI will sort of, the light bulb goes off for other people, just not in IT. That's what it can be useful for. So how did it, starting off here with the IDEs and you're in the dev tools things, what were your thoughts about the Code Whisperer and Amazon Q integration?
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. And also ask AWS to help me build stuff on AWS. So especially people new to AWS could really use it to, how do I build stuff? How to create a Lambda function? How to build my serverless applications? How to run containers? Which of the 17 ways to pick for containers? And all the things. So helping people to get started without reading millions of blog posts and having no idea what they should do. Just asking Q and get some insights on how to do this.
Yeah, and that's what I think. I mean, I think one of the power of AWS is that there are so many services, but that with that power comes obviously a lot of different things you got to look at. And I think with all the amounts of data that is around, to be able to just ask natural language questions and get those answers. And it was also on an architectural thing. Which service do I use for a web app? That's a pretty general question to ask.
Yeah, and as I said, I think it's still the thing about builders new to AWS or new to developing at all, because for understanding which tool to use, normally you need a lot of background information on how things work to ask the right questions by looking at blog posts and videos. But with natural language, you can just ask the way you want to ask instead of Googling for the right keywords that you already know.
Yeah, when you need to know enough to be able to ask the proper question.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's gone with this generative AI stuff, because you can really ask in your language, like, I want to build a web app, not I need a framework for things. Try searching for API gateway on a search engine.
With HTTP APIs, API gateway, that's going to be fun. Huh?
Exactly. So, and now you have this option to ask in your language and get an answer get a road to your things, and then using Code Whisperer in your IDE, also generating code for you to get started, creating CDK code, creating CloudFormation code, creating your Lambda handlers, and really get started with the first application within hours and without asking a lot of people about it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you've explained that as well so nicely. One of the other things I liked was creating the automated tests. Although I think the purists would sort of bristle at the writing your code first and then writing the test. The test-driven development, well, surely you need to start with the test first. But actually, if you spend a lot of time writing the code and you want to say, ensure my test coverage is 100% for all this code, and an AI system is going to help you generate those tests, I think that's fantastic. At least you're going to get more tests.
Yeah, and I think it's still, you should start with tests, but at some point you have your tests, you have your code, and then do I have enough tests? And then GenAI can help you generate more tests about the things you missed. Yeah, and generating documentation. So I'm always using GenAI now to generate documentation, because explain this code to me. Oh yeah, that's good. That's what I wanted to do. Now document it.
Yeah, that's a perfect way. So in terms of the rest of the keynote, anything that stood out? Was there anything that was interesting, or sort of peek into the future, or something that you already knew, or what were your general other perceptions?
I think it was also interesting at the start when he was talking about all these regional things and regional concepts. So not the GenAI part, about the regional distribution and the failover scenarios, which is also a thing that's always coming up about reliable services. Like, it's not one data center, it's not two data centers next to each other. It's really something that's distributed, and that's the thing to make reliable applications running.
Yeah, no, I think, and with a bigger scale you're getting, it's very easy to have availability zones in a single building, but things happen. I mean, fires in various places, and lots of crazy things going on in the world. So you need to keep your data safe and protected. So that is a good story for us to talk about.
Yeah, and then closing with this rocket launch and talking about bringing the internet to everywhere on the world is also a good thing, because I think we need more people having access to all this technology, and Project Kuiper could be a way to bring this to more people.
Yeah, and that's interesting, and I have no inside knowledge about this as well, but there's sort of information about having this sort of private backbone network, where instead of having all of your Project Kuiper data just on the public internet, you can now run your company data literally on a private backbone on Project Kuiper. That's going to be really interesting to see sort of latencies between places like, I don't know, between Seattle and Australia, when you're going through all the undersea fiber optic cables. What would be actually like going up into space and zapping around that? That could be really interesting. Low latency space, I love it.
Yeah, when he was showing his slide, was like, that sounds like direct connect for satellites. And I think it is something like that. Yeah. So
it was satellite BBC endpoints. So I think it's going to be great. So after the keynote, what else are you exploring with AWS reInvents at the moment? What sort of is anything you specifically looking to learn or explore over the next few days?
Yeah, definitely meeting more people, talking to people about open source, about developer tooling, about automation. And learning more, and definitely looking forward to the Thursday keynote of Dr. Van Vogel's, because that's where normally the builder stuff happens. So this was the enterprise and business keynote, and now we're looking forward to the builders keynote on Thursday.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting, because there was enough builder stuff with the Code Whisperer and all those kind of things today. So to see what Vernon's got in his back pocket to talk about. Well, Thorsten, really appreciate you taking the time. We absolutely love our AWS server heroes. 250 of them doing incredible work in the community to help other people and teach and train, and you've written books as well on CDK. So really appreciate you spending the time with us today, and enjoy the rest of your reInvent.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cheers, thank you very much.